So let me do a little intro for this one. I actually didn't even write one out, but we'll go for it.
She's gonna freestyle it. Freestyle rap. Here we go now. Go Che. Go Che.
Welcome back to. Just kidding.
Welcome back to Butch and Bench.
Right.
You don't get no funner than that.
I'm keeping that in there. Okay. Welcome back to this little Sunday special of Brunch and Banter. So
To your Sunday tea.
Yes.
No,
our
not really.
No,
It
no,
could
she's
be
gonna
tea.
have the
It could be tea.
Sunday special.
Sunday special. Anyway.
There you go.
Obviously we're on a little bit of a hype right now. No, welcome back to our Sunday special. For Sunday specials, we are going to be doing a little bit of a Reddit hour where we're going to be reading the Reddit. We're going to be I have a couple comments that I screenshotted, and then we're going to be reacting to it.
Am I the asshole for not telling my fiancé? So back in college, about 7 years ago, I, female, was just casually sleeping with a few different guys. Honestly, it felt pretty normal college stuff at the time. There was this one night I was with this guy, let's call him Guy A, for the first time. Things were fine, but when it was over, I was just ready for him to leave. He was pretty drunk, so I texted another guy I was also sleeping with, let's call him Guy B, to come and help me get him out of my place. Turns out Guy A and Guy B were actually good friends. So Guy A left super easily, and yeah, Guy B ended up staying and we hooked up again.
Damn.
Oh
So
my
fast
God.
forward to now, and get this, I'm engaged to Guy A. They're still good friends, and my fiance has absolutely no idea that Guy B and I used to be intimate. We hang out with Guy B and his girlfriend pretty regularly. Here's where I'm wondering if I'm the asshole. Sometimes when Guy B and I have a few drinks, we flirt. It's always when we're drunk. We don't flirt at all when we're sober. And it's usually just dumb and stuff. But it still makes me feel a little weird. Then in 2023, so about 2 years ago, on New Year's Eve, my fiance, who is Guy A, got totally wasted and went to bed early during a party we were throwing at our apartment. I stayed up with the people that were still around and they were leaving, and eventually it was just me and Guy B left. We went into the game room to turn off the music and we were both pretty drunk. As soon as we got there, he locked the door behind us. His girlfriend had been at the party but left earlier because she was mad about something and he stayed. In the game room, he started bringing up our college days and then asked me if I still had the scar on my chest. He only knows about the scars because he's seen me naked. I immediately shut it down and told him that he needed to go home. I felt so out of line and he was just trying to take off my shirt or something. We still see him and his girlfriend, especially during football season, since we all watch the games together. Recently, during one of these games, early 2025, another guy in the group kept grabbing my butt. My fiance, dang, so this is guy like 3, right?
Yeah.
My fiance just kept blowing it off and doesn't want to talk about it. But Guy B actually texted me afterward, apologizing that he didn't realize what was happening, even though he was right there. And he seemed genuinely concerned about it. Honestly, it made me feel like Guy B cared more about what happened to me than my own fiance did. So, am I the asshole for keeping it a secret from my fiance that I used to sleep with his friend? Letting the drunken flirting happen with Guy B. We don't flirt when we're sober. We're actually pretty awkward around each other. feeling like Guy B has been more supportive of my fiance lately. Would it be okay if I just don't tell my fiance about our past, but we cut Guy B and his girlfriend out of our lives completely?
Damn. I think she should have been honest since the get-go. If you were starting a serious relationship with somebody and been like, hey, just so you know, I have been intimate with this person who you're close to. And I mean, it's an awkward conversation, but it needs to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So what are the odds that she thought she was just having a fun time in college, ends up getting engaged to one of them, and now they're also like friends?
I thought that was kind of funny.
I was like,
Well,
okay, this is a good one that I need to tell. But I'm like, what are the odds that that happened? Because I mean, she was probably doing it just having fun and being careless. But at the same time, like, why would you continue in college the relationships with two? I mean, maybe she thought nothing was going to come of it, right? But
But she found
sleeping
out they
with
were
two,
friends, though.
yeah, but continuing it, and then she ends up like, having a relationship, I guess, more committed relationship with one of them.
Yeah.
And now here she is, and it's kind of going backwards instead of forwards. And I feel like there might be still history there because they get awkward, and then they still kind of do it when they're drunk,
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been intimate with each other, I feel like as soon as she found out that they were actually really good friends and she continued to not only sleep with guy A, but she was in a relationship with him that was obviously so serious that ended up an engagement, that she should have told him before there even was an engagement, because that's a serious relationship. And obviously they were still friends throughout all of college if they're friends with the guy B and his girlfriend.
Yeah, so obviously while they were dating seriously, obviously she knew that they were friends, so she knew that they would hang out. So in the back of my head, I would have been like, whoa, does he know that I slept with his friend? Because they're friends. And guys kind of talk about that kind of stuff, I'm assuming. Maybe. I don't know. So,
or does the fiance just know about it, but he's in denial because he really cares about this girl, but that's also his friend. So he's kind of just like not caring about anything, which is why he probably didn't care about that guy touching the butt, because he was just like, out of sight, out of mind. If I don't make it a big deal, then like other shit won't come up. And then he already proposed. Like that's a big commitment in itself.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, well, what kind of guy are you? Like, you're just going to be okay with people doing that,
Well, then say, well, at the same time, like, you shouldn't be okay with people touching your lady like that. Especially if you could see that it's bothering her,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think she could be an asshole if she willingly went into this relationship knowing that they were friends, even if it's after the fact, and didn't say anything. And now all of a sudden she wants to confess. I feel like she should have done that a long time ago. I don't know if it's like asshole per se though. I think maybe her husband's a little bit more of an asshole by not saying anything about the friend who's touching her.
Yeah, he is an asshole for like not standing up for his girl, when she didn't want to be touched, like personal space,
Right.
It is kind of messed up that she hasn't told him about sleeping with guy B. But then she's also messed up for flirting with guy B while she's drunk. Like, if you're drunk enough to remember, you're not drunk.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, if you can remember that you are flirting with someone while you're under the influence, like, who's to say that it won't stop you doing it when you're not under the influence?
Right.
Exactly.
So it sounds like there's definitely sexual tension there too.
Yeah. And I think that all has to do with the fact that they used to sleep with each other. They've seen each other naked.
Mm-hmm. And that was pretty dumb. Like, oh, do you still have the scars? Scars don't go away. Like, they're there for like life. Like, why would you ask? But I feel like that was maybe his like.
He wanted to do something else.
How do you say it? Like his pickup line. Like, like, let me see where this can go, type of thing.
Yeah. Like, good on her for shutting it down, because obviously she doesn't want to do that.
But like,
But
she wouldn't have had to shut it down if she wouldn't have been flirting with him when they were drinking.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, to him, it's like an open door.
Yeah.
Like, her door is not fully closed. Her door is cracked for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I think she actually probably what if maybe she actually had feelings for person B, but person A was the one who reciprocated her feelings, and now
Yeah.
person B is like being like, oh, are you okay? This person was touching you. That wasn't right. Sorry, I didn't say anything, kind of thing, you know. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like bringing out her other emotions for him.
Yeah.
I think like the fiance also like isn't really caring about her, and he is. So she's like leaning towards or finding what she's missing in her fiance in this other person.
Mm-hmm. If there, I feel like she wants to tell him, but maybe she doesn't know how. And maybe the best way is maybe going through a little bit of counseling to find a right way to express these feelings and these thoughts, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So I would say overall, not fully the asshole, but kind of.
It's a
Yeah.
messy situation.
Yeah, it's a messy situation. I think she in a way she kind of is, but
For continuing it.
Yeah.
For allowing it to continue.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree.
I think my husband and I are headed for divorce, and I'm struggling. Okay. So the husband is a 44 male and wife is 37 female. Apologies in advance because I'm quite emotional. Spelling and grammar may not be on point, and I have a tendency to ramble when upset. For some background, the past 6 months or so have been tricky. My husband was made redundant. He has a new job now. I miscarried what would have been our third child at 11 weeks. Finances have been very tight, and my work and his new job have been stressful. The reason I think my marriage may be coming to an end is how my husband has been behaving more recently. During the miscarriage, my husband started his new job. He doesn't drive, and so I took him to work and picked him up, or arranged for him to get there and back. Bear in mind that I was in horrendous pain and very heavily bleeding for 8 days before it was all over. I went to the hospital alone multiple times and have painful scans. Went to meetings at my children's school and sobbed my heart out in the evenings. This all seemed like a necessity of life, with being a mom and a wife with people counting on you. However, my husband was not there for me emotionally much. I received perhaps 2 brief hugs and one, "Sorry you're going through this." I regularly checked in with him to see if he was okay, and he said, "It's a bit sad. We all experience loss differently, and life has to go on," and so it did. I returned to work, and shortly after, my job became extremely stressful for a while. Certain things went wrong to do with how our staff handled something, and I am the manager of my department, so this fell on me. Again, my husband was not exactly a pillar of support, but I got it handled and carried on. Then came Mother's Day weekend. My husband told me on Saturday afternoon that he was going out that night. I reminded him that it was Mother's Day the next day, and I'd quite like to sleep in for once. He promised me it would be fine. At 4 a.m., my husband returned home drunk and fell asleep on the sofa. I got up early with the children, had no acknowledgement of Mother's Day, and later we went to see my mom for lunch. On the way, I brought myself a bunch of flowers. I told him calmly that I felt very let down. He briefly apologized, and that was that. This brings me to this week. On Thursday evening, my husband had a complete screaming, raging, out of his mind meltdown. The reason he gave me, screamed at me, is that I was washing a pan. I was honestly so confused and frightened. It was scary. I physically backed away from him. He carried on screaming, on and on and on. Our 2 little boys were in the room. The youngest, my beautiful wild child, yelled at him to stop shouting at Mummy. My husband then turned to the children, yelling at them. It was at this point that I snapped out of my shock, stood between him and the children, and yelled back. I then gathered up the children and went to his sister's for a few hours. When I got back, he said nothing, no apology, just silence. I put the children to bed, put the air bed up in the living room for me to sleep on, and told him he was getting told me he was getting the train the next morning. No way was I talking to him. No way was I taking him to work. He woke up late the next day, complained in the morning that he was going to be in trouble with his boss while giving me the please pity me look, and left. During the day, he sent me a very long apology message. It didn't sound like him, almost like he got AI to write it. I responded, reminding him of the recent ways he's been unsupportive and saying that I needed a conversation face to face. I also specifically told him that I was emotionally drained and needed him to put in the effort of making up this time. I'm usually the peacemaker. After he got home that evening, he went to lie down. I let him be and made dinner. He didn't talk to me all evening. I went to bed and felt a little petty, and so told him that I guess we're not sorting things out then. After this, he did talk to me. He said everything right. He apologized. I asked him what was going on, and he said he didn't know, but we came up with a plan together, and I felt hopeful. We both acknowledged how hard things had been and that we needed to focus on our relationship. Yesterday evening, my husband said he had forgotten that it was a friend's 40 male birthday and that he was going out in 10 minutes. Something felt off to me about this, but I'm not his keeper, and so I sent him off with a bottle of wine to celebrate his friend. I felt uneasy the rest of the evening, but put it down to our recent troubles. At 2 a.m., he still wasn't home. I messaged him and received no reply, but couldn't keep my eyes open and fell asleep. Today, I woke up and he wasn't home. I checked my phone, no messages. I got the children up, dressed, and fed, and started to really worry. I called him and he didn't answer, though it rang. I messaged him and no reply. I got more and more worried. I kept calling and messaging him, getting increasingly scared that something had happened to him. Eventually, I decided to drive the most likely route between our house and his friend's house. I told the children we were going on a car adventure. I was looking at the sides of the road as we drove along, hoping he was okay, hoping he wasn't slumped there somewhere, but thinking something must have happened for him to be gone all night and not answer my messages or calls. I got to his friend's house and it looked and smelled, even at a distance, like a drug den or teenage party house. I could hear people and music and smell substances being smoked. Luckily, his friend was outside and I asked if my husband was there. He said yes and went and got him. I stayed outside and out came my husband. I kept my cool and both relief and rage washed over me, but I said nothing, just walked towards the car with him following behind. My husband said nothing. He was avoiding my eyes. His clothes were a mess. He was a mess. I turned his face towards me and his eyes were saucers. All my worry for him, all his recent selfishness and outbursts, the fact our children were right there, the promises he'd made to me to focus on our relationship and our family made me completely break inside. He had made me so scared for him. He hadn't called or messaged back. Out of worry for him, I'd expose our children to their father high. To be near whatever was going on in that house. I admitted that I yelled. I got him home after telling him off for worrying me, for being selfish, and reminding him that he was a husband and a father. I told him to go upstairs and I had to think for a moment before going to have a talk with him. I asked him what he'd taken, checked his heartbeat and temperature, got him some water. He told me at first that his drink was spiked. I asked clarifying questions and knew he was lying. I said we should report it to the police, and he confessed to taking some pill. I asked what, and he didn't know. He just took it. I felt so angry and disappointed. I didn't want him in the house with our children coming down off God who knows what drug, especially considering his recent episode of explosive anger a few days before. I called his sister to pick him up, and he's been there ever since. I feel like I don't know my husband. I feel very let down, and I'm questioning if my marriage can be saved or not. What does everyone think here?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
I almost thought he was having an affair with his male
I
friend
thought
or
so
something.
too.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I feel like he has some personal things going on for
Yeah.
sure. And I feel like he's definitely going through something personal, but at the same time, it's kind of sad because she was going through a miscarriage, and I feel like that's when she needed his support the most.
Yeah, that was messed up.
But, I guess the miscarriage was like both of them together, but she was physically going through it.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was also maybe, I don't know.
I mean, maybe that's why he was on the drugs. Maybe he was just so upset he didn't know how to cope with it, and he started doing drugs with his so-called friend.
Right. And maybe he's one that also doesn't express his like feelings, because it sounded like he would just ask her like, "Oh, how are you doing?" And like wasn't really like maybe emotionally and supportive for her, but at the same time, maybe he doesn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
But it feels like, I don't know, like maybe this is how he's coping. He's just trying to feel numb,
Maybe that could be it too.
Maybe. But still too, like, if he has never shown like any form of like emotional stability, I feel like if she needs that, that would have been a red flag for her a long time ago.
Right.
But maybe they've never been through like a traumatic event, like the loss of a child before.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
It
And
is.
I heard a lot of like couples after loss of a child, they just don't survive it because like they're both going through it, but like the female's going through it physically and emotionally, and like sometimes the men don't always comprehend that, and there's a lot of barriers, and they don't know how to communicate, and
Right.
they just break up.
Yeah.
And then the memory of the child kind of is hard.
I mean, for me, like if I was in her situation, I probably would have called it quits probably when he started turning to yell at the kids.
Yeah, that to me was a big red flag. I was
'Cause
like,
that's
what?
like,
Excuse me?
whoa. First of all, you're mad for like no reason really, besides maybe like pent up anger. And he would need therapy for that, but like you don't just go start yelling at your kids. Like, it can always start off with yelling. Eventually, they
Something
start
more.
swinging.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes me wonder, like, was this the first time he did it, or has it been done before? And
I want to say maybe it's not the first time because it's not like she completely freaked out. Like, yeah, she left for a few hours, but she came back.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if her marriage can be saved because it's like he needs therapy and she needs therapy. Like, they both need someone to talk to about the trauma that they both have experienced.
right.
And obviously not take drugs.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe it's better if they just kind of break things off in a way, because I feel like I feel like it's gonna take a while before she's ready to be with him again, and the fact that he was yelling at her, it's gonna cause a lot of like trauma and
Yeah.
the kids, and like you're just gonna be on your toes all around him all the time. So maybe
Yeah.
they need to separate for a little bit at least.
He definitely needs to work on himself. And like, also, I do wonder why he doesn't drive.
Yeah, right?
Maybe they only have one car or something.
Yeah, but like,
Oh wait,
I'm
she was driving
assuming,
him back and forth, huh? So I'm
yeah,
assuming she
she
wasn't
was
working.
driving him back and forth. But like the fact that she drove him while she was miscarrying.
And if he could have driven that car because obviously it sounded like she was taking some time off of work.
He should have driven himself.
I assume. Well, actually, I don't know. I assume that maybe she's like from the UK because she said mum.
Yeah.
But I think they say that in Australia too. And I was like, if he can't drive, maybe he can ride a bike because that's pretty bike friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But one comment that I thought was pretty good was that your marriage can't be saved unless your husband comes totally clean about what's going on with him so the two of you can address it together. It doesn't sound like he's ready or capable of doing that. If he won't be totally transparent and make a commitment to getting some help, you shouldn't let him come home. Your first responsibility is your children.
Like when she was, sorry, was that the end of the comment?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll say when she was going to look for him with the kids in the car, I'm like, okay, what if you would have stumbled across him half dead on the freaking street? Like, you're okay with your kids seeing that?
Yeah,
Right?
I wouldn't want the kids to see that.
Yeah, like she should have. Like, it was almost like she was gonna guilt trip him in a way because she brought the kids to go pick him up from the friend's house.
But I feel like also in that moment, she was probably so distraught. She didn't know what to
that's true.
think. She was like worried.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I don't think she fully thought it out when she got in the car with the kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't know. Because it didn't really sound like she expected him, or she expected to catch him in like an affair. I think she was like truly worried about his like well-being. But at the same time, like it didn't sound like his phone was dead or anything. But who knows? He was high, so he probably didn't have his phone on him. He probably like abandoned it, like somewhere.
Forgot about it.
Right.
It did sound like she completely expected to find him drunk somewhere on the side of the road.
Totally.
Don't do drugs, guys. That's the only thing I can say.
Or at least if you do drugs or heavy drinking, like do it at home.
My wife, 40 female, and I, 44 male, haven't had sex in 17 months. My wife, 40 female, and I, 44 male, haven't had sex since she was 7 months pregnant. Our son is now 16 months old. We have been together for 7 years. We were growing apart even before he was conceived. For the first 2 years of our relationship, things were great. But then she started having panic attacks because she was afraid she was going to lose her job, and her sexual life took a first hit. And never recovered. We were having sex maybe once a month for the next few years until she was 7 months pregnant. Nothing ever since then. For the first little while, I tried to help bring things back to how they were, but didn't succeed. After the baby was born, things were very hard, since the baby had trouble sleeping independently, a problem we are still dealing with. We are also barely hugging each other, and it feels like we've become roommates. We don't fight, but it feels like we're friends. I'm not happy. I still love her very much, but it feels like I am alone in this. I had a conversation with her yesterday, and as I started talking, she immediately started crying and asked if I was going to divorce her. I explained I was unhappy, but I wanted to work on things together to turn things around. I said how much I loved her and how I admired her. After I finished, she asked me what I wanted us to do first. I said I wanted to hear her story. She essentially justified herself, saying the last few years have been really hard, but no reassurance that she loved me and that she wanted to stay together. I had to ask for that confirmation. She said yes, and I asked why, and she said because she loved me. That was as much as I got from her. She then proceeded to tell me how alone she felt and how I don't make time to help her with the kid and to be with her. Not sure what to do. I feel bad because it's like I'm not being sensitive to what she's going through maybe. But on the other hand, growing apart started before the kid. I gave her a lot of room for her to be honest about whether she wanted to go on or not. She said yes, but I didn't feel a lot of confidence. Maybe more fear of failing another relationship. She had a 5-year spell of online dating where she couldn't hold a relationship for more than 6 months. Many much shorter. She was dating 4 guys per year on average. She usually sends a message daily with pics of our kids. Radio silence today. Not sure what to do. What is your reading of the situation? And I have an edit too. Thank you so much for taking the time to respond. Many of the comments really helped. I really appreciate it. I should have called our kid the baby or the kid, our son the baby or the kid. Agreed. Because he did say the kid. Sorry, I made it seem like the lack of sex is my main concern. I believe it is a symptom of a deeper problem. I myself haven't felt like having sex. She brought it up that we need a date night 3 times this year, and I didn't follow through. I agree that her past dating life can be irrelevant. Maybe it's a bit of resentment showing up. She is on maternity leave, and will remain on it until the end of the year. I'm working full-time. I'm working a full-time demanding job and taking as much freelance work as possible as I possibly can to make ends meet. I'm tired too. I do a lot of the chores. I do groceries. I offer to do the night shift so she can sleep on weekends. I still love her and I want it to work. It was on Am I the Asshole? Or something like that. Or relationship advice. Anyway, at first I kind of was like, where he was like, the part about how it started before the kid. And I was like, you mean your kid?
Yeah. I was like, why is he calling his own kid the kid? Like, that in itself says a lot.
Yep, that's what I thought too.
Because as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh, that just sounds like he's not helping care for his kid.
Mm-hmm.
Which in turn can have a lot to do with why she won't be intimate with him.
I don't like it how, like, he was like, I'm tired too.
Like,
I'm
I
like,
understand, you're
okay.
probably the one working, and sure, you do all the chores in the house, but like, are you helping with the child? Because like taking care of a kid, of a
Is a lot.
baby, it's a huge mental toll.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. They cry. You
you
don't know why they're crying.
yeah, you're constantly trying to figure out like what they need until they can talk.
Right. It's the guessing game.
Yeah, and like also too, like I feel like some men just expect for women to be intimate the way they are. Like they can just, whip it out and they're good to go.
Oh, yeah.
But for women, it's a lot more mental, like is he complimenting her? Is he like doing like small little gestures? Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, let me go buy you a pair of earrings. It's like, hey, like I'm proud of you and of what you've been doing here at the house, like give her a little hug, give her a tap on the shoulder. Be like, you smell nice, bring her flowers, like things like
Yeah.
that get women in the mental thing of like, oh, he actually loves me, he
Cares.
cares
Yeah.
about me, and then in return they can be intimate or more intimate with their husbands.
Like, not to like toot my own horn, but Francisco literally texts me like, "I'll bring you something to eat," and I'm like, "Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you."
Yeah.
But it's like things like that. Like you need to give, and your relationship as a whole needs to be good in order for like the intimacy to be good. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same
Yeah.
time, it's like pregnancy and postpartum are hard, and if like he's not helping at all, like she's probably feeling the mental toll. Like
Mm-hmm.
like it's
Yeah.
there's more to it than just like she doesn't want to. She's just here. She's
Yeah.
tired. They're just not meeting in the middle. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
I understand like he's doing the chores. I get it. Okay, thank you for doing the chores, but you also have to take care of the kid. Like, the kid, your baby. Like you have to be there for your baby. You have to like be like, hey, look, you know what? I'm done with work. Give me the baby. I'll feed him or her, change the diaper. You go take a shower. You go relax. Like, get yourself something to eat. Take a nap. Something.
Yeah.
That way she doesn't feel like she's alone. She literally said, I feel like I'm alone. Like
Yeah.
she feels like she has too much going on her plate. And you don't know, what if she's going through like what is it, postpartum depression? What if it's that? You don't know. Like it could be a lot of things.
And probably
Yeah.
the only like me time that she really has is probably in the shower.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Like sometimes I can't
Uh-huh.
even say going to the restroom because my daughter sometimes crawls into the restroom and she wants to be held. Like, and you
Uh-huh.
just have to work with it. So sometimes it's like, okay, I either need to be quick or hopefully like I can do whatever I need to do when she's sleeping. But even then, like I feel
Yeah.
like especially when you're caring for like a child so small, they rely on you, you know? So you really don't
Yeah.
have time. And then when you do have time, now you're trying to figure out, well, what can I do that probably needs to be done that I've been ignoring this whole time to just help
Uh-huh.
with the daily stuff. Like it really is hard. So maybe she just needs some me time to
Mm-hmm.
like help
Yeah.
reset and clear her mind. Whether it's like going to go get your nails done or, taking
Yeah.
just a nap or a long
Go get a
shower.
freaking massage.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, I wonder if like maybe he's insisting on having sex every night, or maybe she's just tired of him insisting on having sex every night, you know? But we don't know like
Yeah.
And
how
if
much
she's
he's
feeling a
pushing it.
certain way, that's not going to help either.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
And like the part that got me
After
was
the
like
baby,
baby was born, things were very hard since the baby had trouble sleeping independently. A problem we're still dealing with. A baby that is born fresh from the woman is not going to sleep independently. Like
Yeah, they
what?
usually don't start sleeping through the night till they're like maybe like past 6 months.
Yeah, and even then, like Cammy still reaches for you, Nina, and she's gonna be 2 years old already.
Yeah. Like for some babies, it lasts longer. Like, I've read about
Yeah,
moms who have
exactly.
like a 4-year-old who still wakes up in the middle of the night. Also, like, she also has like voice too that, she needs, she clearly needs attention because she's like, well, I want to have a date night 2 to 3 times a month. And like, that's huge too because it seems like they get no personal time together, like just talking, them two.
Yeah, and maybe that's what it is too. She wants that little bit extra effort in there. Like maybe she wants to go on these dates so that they could rekindle their
Their
relationship.
flame.
Because I mean, with the baby, I mean, not gonna lie, I've heard like sometimes the flame kind of dies out a little bit because the baby takes priority. You know?
At least for the first few years, and then they can, kind of back off since the baby's growing into a little kid, and the kid can kind of occupy themselves a little more. They don't need you as much.
Yeah.
well, it sounds like they're definitely going through that roommate phase that everyone calls it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they were going through it before, but I don't know. It just takes effort, like on both sides. And
Yeah, and I think it said that she's 40 and she has a 16th month. So what is that?
yeah, that's
16. That's a
hard.
year and a year and a couple months. So I mean, she got pregnant at 38, 39. That's late.
Yeah.
Like imagine what her body's going through.
Testimony to like Kyle's mom. She had a baby at, I think she was 42. And she said it was way harder to have a baby at 42 than it was like in her 30s or her 20s.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine how hard it is for her.
Yeah. So he's definitely being an asshole. I think he's being a little bit of an asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know if he
I
asked,
mean,
but that's my opinion.
especially if he's like trying to initiate or like try to have sex every single night.
Yeah.
Like, no, dude, sometimes, you're like, she can be so mentally done that she just wants to go to sleep. I, 24 female, think I'm falling for my tutor, 26 male. Where do I go from here?
Oh.
Sorry in advance for the length. I've had this bottled up for a while and I tend to ramble. I went through something pretty heavy towards the end of last year. I won't get into all the details, but I came out of it deciding I wanted to fully commit to investing in both my mental and physical health. I started therapy, changed my nutritional habits, invested in a gym membership, and decided to finish my degree since I dropped out of school a while back. I was struggling for a little with my course load, and my school has a program where grad students can tutor undergrads as a part-time job. A classmate of mine specifically recommended someone who we'll call Daniel. He worked for me very well. Not to mention, he was also able to work with my insane schedule, so I went ahead and signed up to see him for weekly tutoring sessions. I will say, as soon as I saw him, I was instantly attracted to him. He is very much my type physically. I know I might sound like an asshole for saying this, but I really expected him to be arrogant. Just as a frat boy alum
Alumni?
just as maybe
Maybe alumni.
alumni, who's
No.
pretty and really smart. I don't know, it's just what I thought he'd be like. To my surprise, he's actually one of the sweetest people I have ever met. He's funny, we have a lot in common, he has never once made me feel dumb for not knowing how to do something, or insecure for doing something wrong. Anytime he senses I'm doubting myself, he goes out of his way to encourage me, and while I know this is his job, I have worked with tutors and even teachers before who weren't as reassuring, so this was very refreshing. He seems to have a genuine passion for both what he's studying and helping others with the material, which is insanely attractive. Even just in the sense of what I'd want in someone helping me get back on track with my schoolwork. I've always been attracted to people with ambition who are outgoing, and on top of that, we have the same taste in music, similar hobbies, and are able to hold great conversations. Naturally, I started to have a crush on him. He mentioned relatively early on that he had a girlfriend, relatively new relationship of about 5 to 6 months. It came up casually one session when asking about his weekend plans, and while I was disappointed, I hoped that would give me closure and I could start to just forget about him in that way. Of course, it couldn't be that easy though. Every time I see him, he's even cuter than I remember, and the conversation flows beautifully. I will say, he does seem to take an interest in hearing about my love life when it comes up, and he does sometimes complain about not having much in common with his girlfriend. We also follow each other on social media, and he will sometimes engage with my posts, all of which have made me question if there is a mutual interest on his side. However, I know it doesn't matter because the fact of the matter is it's really not my place to judge. I do want to emphasize he never speaks ill of his girlfriend. Obviously, that would be a red flag. But a lot of time, when talking about things they do together, he essentially tells me he wasn't that into whatever they were doing, so he would just grin and bear it for her. He has also mentioned that she's only 22, so she spends a lot of her time partying and going out, while he prefers a balance and it can be exhausting to keep up. Sometimes I also wonder if he holds back with me because there's that line of having a professional relationship. Anyway, I know I'm probably holding on to false hope, but you hear about unrequited love stories that do work out in the end, and sometimes I just feel like there's something there worth waiting for. I think of it sort of like Jim and Pam from The Office. I've never seen The Office, so I don't know.
Pam
It's
is
been a
Pam is in a relationship and Jim is working next to her, and they have like this like cutesy flirt thing, and they kind of like each other, but Pam is with somebody else.
okay. It's been about 3 months now, and the banter hasn't died down in the slightest. I got out of a very bad domestic abuse situation a little over 2 years ago and have not been able to feel anything romantic for anyone since. Even with people I thought would make a great partner, I just felt very emotionally unavailable, for lack of a better term. Sorry, I know that's cliche. So this was definitely a jump scare. I can't help but overthink what it is about him that changed all of that, and I can't stop thinking about him in general. It's not just lust anymore. I think he is genuinely one of the best people I have ever met. I can't say I have admired any of my past partners the same way. I know if it's meant to happen, then it will, and I should probably just leave it alone, but it's driving me insane that I can't get over him. Before everyone goes and suggests the obvious to get a new tutor, I really don't want to. I'm already seeing amazing results. Plus, like I said, he checks all the boxes for what I'm looking for in a tutor. And a lot of working on my mental health has been working on maintaining control over my emotions, which is something I've always struggled with. If I give in to my emotions and let go of the person who's playing such a big role in me pursuing another goal of mine, it just feels like a giant step backward. I don't really know why I decided to share this. I guess I'm looking for any sort of guidance for others who may be willing to share similar experiences. I just needed to get this out in an unbiased environment. I know I probably sound pathetic. For the record, I want to emphasize I would never do anything to attempt to break up a couple for selfish reasons. Like I said, it's not my place to judge how well it's going. I'm just asking, please be gentle and kind. I'm already beating myself up really hard for this. And this one doesn't have any comments because it was like freshly posted. But yeah, that's the story.
Girl, leave him alone. He's in a relationship.
I know. I feel like she's looking for love because he's like paying attention to her, but they're having a one-on-one tutoring session, so he kind of has to pay attention to her. But I feel like, especially coming out of a domestic relationship, like anyone that looks at her is probably and treats her normal, she probably thinks they're like in love or something.
Yeah, and she's like he's holding back. He's not holding back. He's being professional. If anything, you just need to leave him alone. He has a relationship, and you know he has a relationship. Stop pursuing him. If he was pursuing her and he breaks up with his girlfriend, that's something else. But he has to do that out of his own accord, not because you want him to.
Yeah, it seems like if he was interested, he might have like ended things with his girlfriend and tried to pursue her. But it does seem like everything with his girlfriend, like while they might not have a ton in common, like you don't have to have a ton in common to have a good relationship. And like she said, if it was meant to be, then it will happen on its own, She doesn't have to try to break up a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Like me and Francisco, honestly, all we like to do, all we have in common is like Harry Potter and food. We like to eat food.
Foodies?
Yeah.
Literally. But I mean, like, we still have a great time together. We might not share everything in common, but he asked me about how this went or how that went. And I asked him how that went or how his movie, he went to see a movie last night. I was like, how his movie went? Like, it's more than just having things in common. There's communication, there's doing things together.
Yeah.
And that's like the best thing about like not having every single little thing in common is like you can each go do your own thing and then catch up later, or like they can introduce you to new things.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'm sure you're not going to like every single thing, but it's a new experience.
Yeah, so she needs to leave him alone and focus on, maybe she should get a new tutor. I'm sorry. I think the reason you don't want to get a new tutor is probably because
she's like stuck with him.
Like, you enjoy this tutor too much.
She's definitely looking to fulfill what she wasn't getting
from her old relationship,
probably in her past relationship. Like fulfill that missing piece, that hole, that want. She probably wanted something out of that other relationship that she clearly didn't get. And now here she is with someone that I don't think he's like paying attention with her. I think he's just like
being nice.
It's like that one-on-one, I guess, with the tutor.
Yeah.
And I think she mentioned something about like, oh, he's trying to not get into it. I'm like, well, no, you're there to tutor. You're not there to talk about each other's lives and hang out,
Yeah, exactly.
But I think she's taking that as like, oh, yeah, they're not interested in each other. It's not going to work out for them. So, maybe it'll work out for us.
Yeah, and like even then, is she like actually ready for a relationship considering that she went through a domestic, what does she call it?
A separation or something? Or
no, she
abuse?
says, well, she got out of a very bad domestic abuse situation a little over 2 years ago.
That's still a while, or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, who knows how long she was in that relationship and how much he tore her down.
She needs to rebuild herself back up. And it seems like it was new. Like her therapy stuff was new.
Yeah, she decided towards the end of last year, which, we're barely not even halfway through this year. So she barely started working on herself after getting out of that relationship.
Yeah, so that's what I think. I think she needs to give herself some time.
Yeah. Like she kind of makes it seem like, oh, he's the one, but he could just very well not be the one.
But at the same time, like, we're going to go be a homewrecker.
Yeah, don't be a homewrecker.
Like, maybe he's just like a good friend that she needs. Like, she probably just needs a good friend.
Maybe, yeah.
Somebody to talk to and like.
Yeah, because that's kind of what it seems like.
I think she's confusing her friendship feelings for her intimate feelings.
Yeah, that's possible.
Very possible.
Am I the asshole for wanting to attend my sister's wedding without my wife? I, 34 male, have an elder sister, 37 female, who's a divorcee with one child. My family is pretty close. My dad always invites all of us to the house at the end of every 2 months. That's just his way of bonding with his children. He says he feels so much joy when he sees all of us together. My sister has always been part of these gatherings. Now, the issue is between my sister and my wife, 32 female. Whenever they have even a small disagreement, my wife resorts to saying really hurtful things to my sister. The one she always uses is something like, "You're not ashamed of yourself? At your age, no husband, single mother?" I've told my wife multiple times that this is completely out of line and unnecessary, and there are better ways to express herself if there's a problem, but she keeps doing it. Now, the plot twist. My sister is getting married soon to a genuinely great guy who's also wealthy. She's invited everyone in the family except my wife. She was very clear about it too. She said my wife has consistently made her feel like less than because of her past, and she doesn't want her at her wedding. When we got home, my wife flipped. She said it's improper of my sister to invite me without inviting her, and that since she's not invited, I shouldn't go either. I told her flat out that she brought this onto herself and that I'm going to my sister's wedding. It's her big day and she deserves happiness without drama. Since then, my wife has been cold and distant, saying I'm choosing her family over her and that I don't care about her feelings. Am I the asshole for still planning to attend my sister's wedding, even though my wife wasn't invited?
Nah, you go to that wedding.
I know. So the popular comment was, "Not the asshole. Are you sure you want to keep your wife?"
Exactly. I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
And then somebody else put like a bunch of red flags and everyone liked it. And then somebody else said, "Maybe the rich guy has a sister for you." So I was like, yeah, definitely not. I definitely agree. She brought this onto herself and now she's pissed because she's not invited. Like, you
Yep.
did it. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't even like her. Like, why do you want to go to the wedding?
She's
Yeah,
a
like, why
bully.
is she so mean?
But I'm like, I don't know. Like, I guess maybe having somebody is important to her. And that was her, like, oh, maybe I'm thinking maybe she was like, oh, I have it all because I have a husband or a significant other. And look at you, you don't have anything. You know, maybe that was like her day.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, and then
But like,
watch her like 5 years down the road, she's gonna divorce her rich husband.
Right? But yeah, I don't know. That was a weird one for sure. But I'm like, no. I think she definitely brought this onto herself. And I mean, why does she keep doing it?
yeah, like obviously the husband told her to stop.
And what do you get out of it? Like you know how when somebody says a joke like so much, it's like, okay, it's fucking old. Like find a new
Some
joke.
people
Yeah.
find humor and find enjoyment in other people's unfortunate
Oh,
events.
what's the saying?
Yeah.
There is a saying for that.
Misery likes company.
Yeah.
There we
Something
go.
like that. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So I think
no.
that's her.
Maybe she's just jealous because she's marrying a wealthy man.
Maybe. No, but she didn't have a man when she was like saying all those things. So maybe.
No, the wife. Or what do you mean?
Yeah. The one that's already married, the sister didn't have a man when the wife was telling her all these
Right.
things. So I don't think she was jealous of the man
Oh,
because there was no man yet.
I forgot about that part.
I don't know. There's something in her life that's
Maybe
making
she
her
just
unhappy, I think.
is jealous of her.
Because she's single and she had nothing, like nobody to tell her what to do, I guess, in a way.
Was she like reflecting off herself, saying that if she didn't have anybody, she would be
Maybe.
unsuccessful, I guess?
Maybe that's true.
But I mean, that was a little wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame the sister though. I'm like, fucking you do you.
No.
Hell no. I'd do the same thing. I'd be like, you can come, but your spouse can't come. I don't want her there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
I would go.
I would
I'd
go
be
too.
like, see ya.
And he's like, and it's not like it happened one time. It sounds like it's been happening a lot. And he's the one that's telling him, like, you gotta stop, like whatever. So now, fast forward, she met a guy, and now she's like, well, I don't want you. You've been talking shit about me this whole time. Now she's like, what? I'm not invited? Like, probably,
acting all brand new.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like acting she doesn't know exactly what happened. I was like, yeah, you know exactly what happened.
Where she's like the one obviously causing all the drama, and she's like, drama where?
Right? She's like, I was
For real.
speaking the truth. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Final verdict, not the asshole.
Yeah, not the
Definitely
asshole.
not.
He would only be the asshole if he didn't go to the wedding.
Or told her it's fine, go to the wedding anyways, when it was clearly known that she was not invited.
Exactly. AITA for yelling at my wife for starting a hobby without me. Posting on a throwaway, as I'm not sure if she will see this. A couple of days ago, I, 28 male, and my wife, 26 female, went to a craft store. She found a good deal on a large fluffy yarn. She has always said how she wants to make a big fluffy crochet blanket, so she got a few bundles. I learned how to crochet from my grandmother years ago. My wife has seen me crochet before and knows I know how to do it. She had suggested that I could teach her how to crochet after I'm off work this weekend. She works a different shift than I do, so our schedules line up sporadically. I was more than happy to teach her. Today, I got home from work and found the packaging in the trash. She worked a later shift today, so I didn't bother her while she slept. When she woke up, I saw that she had already started without me. She had been bored and decided she wanted to try on her own. She said she messed it up after the first few rows and will need to start again. I was very upset and angry. I keep crocheting because my grandmother has since passed away, so I feel close to her every time I work on a project. This cut deep emotionally. I feel betrayed. Not like I was valued in this. She tried to downplay it and said that it wasn't a big deal and that I was overreacting because quote, I messed it up, so I'll have to start over again. And, quote, you can show me how to do it when I start over again. I was really looking forward to spending time with her and showing her a skill I learned from family. I'm confused if I did overreact and it's not as big as I'm making it out to be. Any advice is very much appreciated. Thanks for taking the time to read.
I feel like in a way, yes, because that was something that was very sentimental to him.
Yeah, but it's just crocheting.
If
I
she
know, but at the same time,
knew,
I'm like, okay, that's not a big deal. Like, she tried doing it herself. She could have watched a YouTube video. But I feel like it was probably like super sentimental to him.
but if she didn't know, that's not her fault.
I thought she did know.
He says that it's very emotional to him, but he didn't say that he expressed it to her. But we don't know because it doesn't extend, you know.
Yeah.
I think also, like, what if she was trying to surprise him and be like, "Look, I made you a blanket. Like, I learned how to do it, and I made you a blanket," you know?
Yeah.
Most of the comments did say, though, "You're the asshole. You yelled at your wife because she tried to crochet by watching a video instead of waiting for her. Just because your grandma taught you doesn't mean it's prerequisite to learn from a relative instead of, in modern age, from learning from a video."
Yeah.
And another one said, "You're the asshole. This is extremely controlling behavior. So she can't learn how to do something you already know how to do unless you are the one to teach her. Is she allowed to learn how to change a tire without your permission?"
Oh, yeah. Okay, so there, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like a controlling thing. Like,
I mean, it doesn't make sense. If it's something that he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited to teach her," and then she takes it away from him and does it like, by herself, is that maybe her A, didn't want to bother him, or B, trying to say that she could do it herself, maybe? Or is she just, I don't know, doing it on purpose?
I mean, for me, it's like, unless it was spoken where he said, "Oh, I want to teach you," then, and she agreed to it, then yeah, it's messed up for her to go out of her way in a sense.
But,
But
like, you don't need
also,
to yell.
yeah, I know, it's just
yeah, that was a little
crocheting.
too far.
Yeah. You could just been like, "Oh, I wanted to teach you. Like, I wanted to share what my grandmother taught me." And then they talked about it, but you don't gotta yell about it. That's different. That's too
Yeah, like,
much.
I don't think that's something you'd be upset, like, angry over. I feel like that's something that you'd be, like, more upset, sad over.
Like, bothered, and that's it.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
not yell, but more like, "Aw." Yeah, that was a little uncalled for.
I just thought it was funny because you're getting upset over like crocheting, like, and I picked it because I know how to crochet, so I just thought it was funny. I told Francisco, you're not allowed to watch it on a video. You have to learn it through me.
Right?
I was kidding.
Oh, did you find the story when you were with him?
Yeah, he was with me and I found it and I was like, look at baby, what about this one? And he just started laughing. He's like, that's not you, right? And I was like, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
You're like, it can be me.
He's like, do you want it to be? I can do it right now.
Role play?
Yeah, role play.
Oh my god.
No, but yeah, I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that people willingly post it online.
I know. That's the crazy part for me. I'm like, people actually like post this stuff online.
Yeah. Okay. You guys don't know this. Our small little audience don't know this, but Chad didn't know about Reddit. She found out through us.
I didn't.
She's new to this Reddit phase. She's like, wait, what? This is a thing?
She has a whole new world to explore.
Thank you so much for tuning in with our little Sunday special. If you have any personal stories, please submit them. You can submit them to one of us personally, or you can submit them on the comments if you'd like to as well.
No names will be said.
Yeah, we will not say any name unless you would want us to say your name. Please follow our socials. It's on Instagram and TikTok at Brunch and Banter Pod. And yeah, tune in next time where we have more stories to tell you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.